guys, you're watching Matt the Musketeer, and today I actually have a catch-up commentary for you. Now, it's been a while since I did one of these, but there was just so much cool information at E3 that I never really got a chance to talk to you guys about because of all the Battlefield 4 news and gameplay. So today I just want to talk to you guys about some of the things at E3 that really did grab my attention. So one of the first things that I want to talk to you guys about is the fact that we did get a chance to see the PCs that were running Battlefield 4 at E3. Now this is interesting because previously I have done a video talking about the speculated minimum and recommended stats to play Battlefield 4. So taking a look at this snapshot taken at E3 of one of the Battlefield 4 PCs, we can see on this nicely engraved side panel that it does say AMD. So we do know that this time round Battlefield has gone in partnership with AMD over Nvidia. But what AMD cards were these using, I hear you ask? Well, they were actually using cross-fired XFX R7970 3GB cards. As I said, in a crossfire layout, so we're looking at about 6GB memory total for this setup. So with a Nvidia comparison, you may be looking at a 4GB 670 SLI setup, or maybe a 2GB 680 SLI setup as a comparison. So this is a pretty state-of-the-art expensive setup they had in these PCs. Now on top of that, we can see they were using water cooling systems to keep these PCs nice and cool and nice and quiet as they were continually playing throughout the day. We can also make a rough guess from looking at these pictures that they had roughly 12 or 16GB of RAM. Now in terms of its CPU, obviously that is hidden away behind its heatsink and we can't really tell what CPU these computers were running. But either way, having a Crossfire 7970 setup and having between 12 and 16GB of RAM means these computers were pretty state-of-the-art high-tech pieces of kit. Now these weren't the only powerful computers at E3 either. It turns out the Xbox One is a pretty powerful computer as well. As you can see from these images snapped here, when an Xbox One did crash and had to be reset, it was actually being run from a PC. So the Xbox operating system and games weren't being played through an Xbox One, but through a pretty powerful computer. And as you can see from this zoomed in shot here, it was using some type of GTX 600 series card. So be it a GTX 670, 680 or even a 690, this computer had about 3 or 4 times more power than an Xbox One. So it does seem that Microsoft were trying to pull the wool over our eyes at E3. But this wasn't the only goof made by Microsoft at E3. It seems that their entire show was doomed since they announced the Xbox One would cost $499, roughly $80 more than the PlayStation 4. And not only that, they seem to dig themselves into further holes when they confirmed their rules and regulations surrounding the transaction and trading of pre-owned games. And to make matters worse for Microsoft, during an interview at E3, Don Mattrick addressed a question concerning the compulsory connectivity of the Xbox One by saying, "Fortunately, we have a product for people who aren't able to get some form of connectivity. It's called the Xbox 360. If you have zero access to the internet, this is an offline device." Pretty shocking to hear from one of the heads of Microsoft snubbing out any player who doesn't have constant access to the internet, saying that these people can stick with old generation technology. Probably not the answer some gamers are looking for. So alongside the allegations of there being rape jokes during their live stream, this is probably not been a good E3 for Microsoft. So moving on to some of the other great games that did grab my attention at E3 besides Battlefield 4, but starting off by staying pretty close to home with DICE, how can I not mention Star Wars Battlefront? Now of course, as soon as it was announced that EA was getting the rights for Star Wars and they were going to be passing on one of those games to DICE, it has been speculated that Star Wars Battlefront would be the title that DICE would be working on. Now of course, this was just a reveal sneak peek trailer, but what we saw did get people pretty excited. Now DICE have gone on to say that Star Wars Battlefront won't just be a makeover of Battlefield 4 on the Frostbite 3 engine. But personally, I wouldn't mind seeing a Star Wars style Battlefield if they just took Battlefield 4 and swapped out the locations, the weapons and the characters for Star Wars related stuff. I think that would be a pretty cool game. Now of course, in the past, Star Wars Battlefront has always been a third person style game, but DICE historically always have worked on first person games, so would you guys rather see a first person or third person Star Wars Battlefront? Tell me in the comments below. Now I know a lot of the die-hard Star Wars Battlefront fans will want the game to stay in third person, but personally I think first person shooters or online games are always much more successful online than third person games. But as I said, I want to hear your opinion on this, tell me all in the comments below. Now of course, on top of Star Wars Battlefront and Battlefield 4, DICE also showed us Mirror's Edge 2, which is the game that a lot of people have been speculating and excited for quite a while. Now personally, I've never been too interested in Mirror's Edge. I have played it, I put quite a few hours into it actually, but I've never really taken off or had any interest in it, so for me personally, Mirror's Edge 2 isn't really something that grabbed my attention that much. But what we saw did look pretty exciting. The concept of Mirror's Edge was pretty cool, it was pretty state of the art at the time. So I'm hoping with the Frostbite 3 engine, Mirror's Edge 2 could look pretty cool on the next gen consoles. Now one of the final games I want to talk to you guys about today, and probably the one I am most excited for, is Metal Gear Solid The Phantom Pain. Now any of you guys who do watch a lot of my videos will know I am very fond of the Metal Gear series. Due to my age, I have grown up with Snake since pretty much Metal Gear Solid 1, even before that, just the original Metal Gear series. So I've grown up with Snake and Metal Gear Solid, and I really do love the series. I have all of the kind of memorabilia that goes with it. So seeing this next gen Metal Gear Solid, especially after we were originally told and thought that Metal Gear Solid 4 was the end to the Metal Gear saga, to see this new game coming out, which looks like it's going to be, and apparently is, an open world game, which is something brand new to the Metal Gear series, could be pretty cool. So I'm really excited to see what Metal Gear Solid 5 has in to offer. And that pretty much rounds up all of the things that I want to talk to you guys about E3 2013. But now it's down to you guys in the comments below. I want to hear from you. Which games at E3 really grabbed your attention this year? Which of the two consoles, the Xbox One or the PlayStation 4, do you think won the competition at E3? And which of those two consoles do you think is grabbing your attention and you are interested in more at the moment? And don't forget guys, if you did enjoy this video, please give me a rating and a comment, it does help me out a lot. But in the meantime, thank you for watching and I will see you soon.